Now, businesses have always had to respond to changing circumstances as economies evolve and disruptions occur, but not many professions have ever faced an interruption as severe as the coronavirus, with restrictions impacting on entire workforces, cash flow and, in some cases, the entire operation's viability.
Well, Nick Abrahams is Global Head of Tech and Innovation for Norton Rose Fulbright, and he has some tips on surviving the pandemic, and he joins us now. Good morning to you, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, thank you.
Now, look, as we mentioned, disruption really is nothing new for business, but this pandemic is about as big as it gets. Can we learn from history? What are some examples of businesses coming back from the brink?
Yes, I think we can, and I think the key mantra through these difficult times is to think positive but test negative. And so if we look back through history, we think that we invented Agile recently, but back in the 20s, there was a business that started off called McVickers Clay, which is what we now know as Play-Doh. But back then, they had the business of, it was clay that would take soot off wallpaper when we used to have fireplaces inside. Then in the 50s, McVickers was on the verge of bankruptcy as we were moving from wood fireplaces to gas. But then one of the nieces suggested that why don't we put some colour in it and make Play-Doh?
Wow!
And so consequently, $3 million sold in that first year. It was a massive success. 100 million cans of Play-Doh shipped every year, thanks to that great pivot.
Happy kids playing with the fuzzy pumper barbershop too.
Indeed.
Look, what if we look back to, say, when SARS hit? Are there any examples from back then of businesses turning their fortunes around? Because like then, many businesses were really forced to do a lot of their business online.
SARS is a great spot for organisations to look to find some positivity. So back in 2002, there was a small company in China, and it was going to the brink of bankruptcy as a result of SARS. There, people had been locked in their apartment buildings, etc. But what they did was they changed their business model. They pivoted, and they launched an online marketplace. And that online marketplace and that business is today worth over $500 billion. That business is Alibaba.
Wow. So how are businesses faring here in Australia? What are some examples of businesses that are surviving the pandemic after a great pivot?
Yeah, there are some great examples out here. Australia is incredibly innovative and has responded. But I look to the music business, and maybe it's because there's a great corporate strategist who I like to think about, Kenny Rogers. And so Kenny, in his epic work on corporate strategy, The Gambler, he says every hand's a winner, every hand's a loser. Secret to surviving is knowing what to hold and what to throw away. And there's a business called Stage Kings, which was in their original business was putting up staging for music concerts. But back in March of this year, that business collapsed, of course, and all 58 people were put out of work. But they pivoted. They started manufacturing furniture. And to date, they've sold 13,000 items of furniture, and they've re-employed all 58 of their people.
Not to be too negative, though, but are there some businesses that just aren't able to survive?
Yeah, we will see businesses that, maybe just cannot make it through with the cash flow issues that are occurring. The government's doing an amazing job, but there are those issues that are really right in the forefront of danger. Obviously, hospitality, travel and tourism is doing very poorly. But oddly, this is not like any other recession we've ever seen. Recessions normally hit everyone the same. There are massive winners coming out of this, and there will be, unfortunately, some losers.
So what's the key then? How much does attitude and culture matter when trying to survive?
Yeah, it is critical. You've got to recognise that it's unfortunate, but you've got to play with the hand that you're dealt. And so we look at the British cycling team. Back in 2002, British cycling was a disaster. In the 100 years of British cycling, they had won precisely one Olympic gold medal and no Tour de France in 100 years. And then the management team that took over decided to focus on the detail. They believed that the compounding benefits of 1% gains would lead them to victory. And in 6 short years, they were proven correct. In the 2008 Olympics, they won 7 of the 10 Olympic gold medals. They did the same in the 2012 Olympics. And then in that same year, the first Brit ever, Bradley Wiggins, won the Tour de France. And then Chris Froome, another Brit, has won it 4 times since then. So they've won 5 of the 8 Tour de France's in recent times as a result of focusing on the details. So I think for everyone, it's about trying to find the incremental improvements. You don't have to think massive, just how can you incrementally improve?
And I know your mantra when you speak as an innovation expert, Nick, is cruise, bump, pivot, repeat.
We forever. Yeah.
All right, Nick Abrahams, really great to talk to you. Thanks for your time today.